Welcome back to MMA Oddsbreaker, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Frank Trigg. That's Colton Smith. Both of us are in Las Vegas. I'm assuming you're in your hotel room at the MGM Grand. Is that correct?
I am. I'm hanging out. Just got done watching a movie. We went to The Hangover 3.
Oh, how was it?
It was pretty good. It was good.
Good. Is it? Does it live up to its reputation?
It does. It absolutely does. Just make sure you stay through the credits. That's all I'll say.
See, that's the one. That's one of those movies that you have to stay all the way through because they always give you stuff at the end.
Yes, exactly.
So. All right, let's talk about your fight coming up on Saturday. Getting ready to fight Whittaker. What do you see from him as you're looking at tape of him? Like, what are you preparing for?
Yeah, Robert Whittaker. He's a good striker, young kid, hungry, strong, athletic. I believe he's a bit untested as far as fighting the kind of caliber of fighters who are in the United States, and I think that's something I bring to the table to test his skill set.
He's Australian, is that correct?
Yes, Australian, correct.
Yeah. Didn't somebody try to get you to hold up on a New Zealand flag or something yesterday for doing one of the photo shoots?
Yeah. I thought it was an Australian flag when I first looked at it, and I was like, I can't do that. I looked at it, it ended up being a New Zealand flag, but Gray Maynard and Daniel Cormier held it up instead, and I just stood on the side of the picture.
Okay, all right, perfect. Now, you and I went last night to Adam Hunter, to MMA Roasted, to his stand-up routine. And then when the picture came out of the three of us at the show, a lot of people are like, Colton's boring. He's a boring fighter to watch. Like, did he bore you inside, in the audience as much as he bored you when you fight? And the thing is, it's like when I read that kind of stuff, me personally, when I read that kind of stuff, I'm very, very technical. So I'm watching what you're doing on top. I'm watching what you're doing to slow the pace down. And like Ben Askren, who I make fun of all the time for being one of the most boring champs I've ever seen, there's a lot of technical ability for him. Like, you have to respect what they're doing to make the fight be that way. What do you think about those kind of guys, those fans, those fanboys that are always yelling at you for being a boring fighter?
So I was 7-1 as an amateur. It was 7 first-round finishes. My first 3 pro fights were 3 first-round finishes. Mm-hmm. The caliber of fighter I'm fighting now, I've had to step my game up, and it happened pretty quick when I was fighting in the Ultimate Fighter House, and I fought, guys with 50 pro fights, Eddie Ellis and Igor Araujo with 35 pro fights and guys like that, and so, I knew in training I had to step my game up. It wasn't going to happen overnight. I am a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've wrestled my whole life, and I'm trying to put all my stuff seamlessly together. So obviously I want to finish, but the caliber of fighter I'm fighting now is light years ahead of the caliber of fighter I was fighting 2 years ago when I first started fighting. So, I'm so new to this game. I'm still learning every day, and people can say what they want. It doesn't bother me. Getting my hand raised at the end of the night is what's important.
Now, are you looking? You're not trying to change your style, because I know a lot of guys like Fitch, all of a sudden got called boring. He changed his style, and all of a sudden he was winning more dramatically, and it kind of stepped the game up a little bit for everybody else watching him. But then some other guys would change up their boring style and end up getting beat up and rocked out and losing. You're not going to be one of those guys to try to change your style, are you? You're going to stick with your...
No, absolutely not. I've been fine-tuning some things with my training partners and my coaches. And, more finishing stuff. Look for more finishing, not only submissions, but looking for more places for damage and stuff like that on my feet, on the fence, on the ground. More lockdown positions.
Let's talk about your training partners for a minute. You're working out with Tim Kennedy, who just came over from Strikeforce into the UFC. You're working out with Kamal Shellarus, who spent some time in Vegas, great Iranian wrestler, and now fighting over in ONE FC. What's it like being in a room down there? And it's you guys are in Austin, Texas, which is kind of a weird spot to have an MMA group. So what's it like down there?
Yeah. It's pretty cool. There's no egos. People from all over Texas come. We train together at a central location. We have good fighters come in every week, trainer. There's Andrew Craig, another UFC fighter. He's coming on against Chris Lieben pretty soon. We got a lot of guys that come in and out. Like I said, no egos. Tim kind of coordinates all the training, and we go in there, we bang. We don't really talk about too much that happens in training, obviously.
Right.
Because
it's practice.
Yeah, exactly. It's practice. Easy. Yeah.
How many times have I knocked out in practice? How many times have I been submitted in practice? My record would be 0-500 if that was the case. You go through every day getting beat up. So, do you think it's made you a better fighter by being on The Ultimate Fighter, or do you think it actually slowed down your growth because you're on the show?
I've only been fighting for a couple years before that, so it happened so quickly. I think it's definitely made me a better fighter. It hasn't slowed my growth down. It's gotten me fans and all that stuff, and more notoriety. winning the show. Do I think it's worth the credit? No, it's a piece of glass, that I won. That's cool. It sits in the briefcase they gave it to me in. I'm proud of it. I'm happy. It's a good achievement. But now I'm at the bottom, working my way up. I'm not owed anything. I don't feel like some of these guys get out of the house and feel like the world's owed to them. I'm not one of those guys. So,
what happened in the house that we didn't see that never made the air? Was there something weird that happened in the house, or something that happened in the house that we didn't get to see in the editing?
They just kind of fabricated some stuff, fabricated some drama. Obviously, the contract you signed for that is pretty intense. And the Army looked at it and was like, I don't think you should sign it, but I signed it anyways, for the opportunity.
I'm going to tell you what, anybody that's ever shown that contract to anybody else has always been like, don't sign this thing. Don't sign it, it's horrible, don't sign it. And we all sign it. We all end up signing it. And we're all kind of like, it's just whatever, happens.
Yeah. Not too much happened on the season other than Roy Nelson feuding with all the UFC executives and the producers and stuff like that. So my team was really the redheaded stepchildren of the show. We definitely got treated a lot worse than the other team did.
Well, it ended up working out for you. I mean, it wasn't bad. Do you equate to being in the house to like being back in basic again, where it's just a bunch of dudes running around all the time and just acting a fool whenever you have a chance?
It's a watered down basic, man. A lot of fighters look at it as a negative thing. I look at it as, man, I got no distractions here, other than all the food I could dream of, all the alcohol, but really no distractions. I got a wife and 2 kids, and I love them to death. But I have no bills coming in. I have no family bugging me. I have no phone calls coming in, no mail, no nothing. And I'm there to train. And in my free time, I was doing running, push-ups, pull-ups, do what I could, because I wasn't the best in the house, and I know that. I'm man enough to admit that. I was not the best in the house.
That's tough, because every other Ultimate Fighter champ I've talked to, and I've talked to all of them, other than Forrest Griffin, you're the only one that was like, I wasn't the best in the house. I just happened to get through, Yeah. All the other guys are like, I'm the best in the house. I'm the best. That's how I came through. Look at me, and let's be honest. Forrest Griffin's story it's a great story. He's the reason why MMA is as big as it is, because that first fight on Ultimate Fighter 1 with him and Stephan Bonner, and you kind of have that same attitude. And I was going to say that to you last night. You kind of have that same, aw shucks, man. It's kind of neat, that kind of aw shucks thing that Forrest does. But you talk to you a little bit, and just like Forrest, you're way smarter than people give you credit for. And there's like a whole madness to your game that you're kind of playing that the rest of us just aren't in on the game yet. We're still trying to catch up with you, and that's to me that's fun to watch.
Yeah, I appreciate it. But yeah, just like Forrest said, I wasn't the best in the house, but with the situation I was given, I did the best I could with it. People complained about Roy Nelson's training, so that's why I was running sprints and doing push-ups out at the house while guys were fucking around, fighting inside the house, drinking beer, eating bullcrap food. I stayed disciplined. I thought about the military and everything else, and that I've been through in my life, and it was an easy thing.
You're still active duty Army. How are you maintaining training sessions with being active duty and that whole mess? Like, what's your protocol? What do you have to do for the active Army during these training camps?
Yeah, so I don't get any parental treatment for the most part. I take personal leave for my fights and personal leave for the Ultimate Fighter. I got no special treatment for that. I took 60 days of leave for an Ultimate Fighter, which is 2 years of saved up leave. My family suffered, no family vacations, none of that stuff. But on the flip side, I have a great chain of command, takes care of me. They realize, if you exceed the standard as a military leader, then your chain of command should support you in your extracurriculars. So I've had that.
Now there's no family vacations. You took up all that time, but now you have to take up more time to prep for this fight. So how much time did you take now, and are you digging into years in front of you in leave time, or do you still have some kind of saved up that you're able to use?
I have some saved up from after the show. We got out of the show, so December. We got it last summer. Really, we got out of the show, so I have quite a bit saved up now.
Okay.
I haven't really taken any leave since then, other than for little gigs here and there. I did some stuff with the National Guard. Done some stuff from Officer Candidate School graduation. A lot of Army functions and stuff I've done some stuff for. So, but as far as training goes, I work at the All Army Combatives Training Facility down at Fort Hood, Texas. Mm-hmm. So we have a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt on staff. We got a bunch of tough guys, so I can train with those guys while in between teaching sessions, teaching hand-to-hand for the Army. So it goes hand in hand, and I sacrifice a lot of time with my family. I'm gone a lot, up in the morning before my kids are sleeping, get home late at night when they're sleeping again. So it's a double-edged sword. I give them Sundays. I train 3 times a day, 6 days a week. On Sundays, I hang out with the family.
And how old are your kids right now?
I got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, both boys.
Okay, so yeah, it's okay. It's still all right now. They're not quite at that age. When you start hitting 6 and 7, and it's time to start playing baseball, and they're starting to get in a t-ball, and they're starting to play football, you have to be home more, which is about 3 years from now. Where do you see yourself in 3 years? You see yourself, are you going to be the champ at that point? You're going to be out of the Army at that point? Will you be still in the Army and still trying to do both at the same time? Like, where are you going to be in 3 years?
Look, my ultimate goal is to be a world champion. My ultimate goal is not to, just to make a bunch of money and, get out of the sport. My goal is to be a world champion one day. And, I'm a student in the game. I'm always getting better. I'm not staying the same. I don't feel like I've accomplished enough yet. I'm hungry. I want this. 3 or 4 years, hopefully I'm the best father I can be, the best leader I can be in the military, probably still be in the military, and, moving up the ladder at the UFC. I'm not rushing it. I know where I belong right now in the UFC, and I know, my faults as far as a fighter.
What's the length of your contract with the UFC?
3 years.
3 years, and how much longer do you have on your military contract?
I have 1 year left in this current contract.
And you'll probably, and I know you're going to resign. Like, they're going to hit you up in 6 months. And you'll be like, yeah, I'm in. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 100%. So I was wondering which contract's going to come up first. Would be a military one, and then it's always interesting to see military guys have that UFC contract come up, and they have a short time left on their military contract, and they're like, all of a sudden they're starting to see the real money. Because let's be honest, you guys don't get paid dog squat. I mean, to do what you do, you get paid nothing. And then obviously you're getting to that point now where you're like in your 5th and 6th and 7th fight in the UFC, and you're winning all of them, and the money's starting to get legit. And you're like, I want to stay in the military, but I really want to resign, because if I don't, I can be a full-time fighter and really make some serious money. Like, what do I do? And that conflict for you won't come as quickly as it does for a lot of the other guys. You'll actually be in the middle of another contract with the military when the UFC contract runs out. So you might have it tougher than some of these other cats, because you're a diehard long-term lifer in the military. Like, I don't see you getting out anytime soon, and you'll be fighting lifetime too. So
Yes,
it's gonna be interesting. Well, Colton, thanks for coming out here with us. Thanks for coming out and seeing us right after you watched The Hangover 3. I appreciate it. And good luck on Saturday. Unfortunately, I will not be there live. I have a viewing party I have to do at the Palms, but I'm sure I'll see you out afterwards.
all right, brother. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for having me.